it's kind of like a catch-22, because in the past, when you've been too giving and too loving and too X, Y, and Z, people have hurt you. But now that you're not doing any of those things, you're hurting yourself. What is up, my loves? Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Issa. If you don't know who the fuck I am, and if you do know who I am, welcome back. It is lovely to have you here. Either way, okay? Loving reminder that I don't always post on YouTube every single week, but I upload to the podcast every single week. So make sure that you are subscribed here and you are subscribed on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, all major streaming platforms. Okay, so you don't miss an episode, because I feel like I always have something to share with you, and I love hearing from you guys. If you have been keeping up and you have been listening, you have been watching, let me know in the comments. Leave a 5-star review on the podcast. It is so appreciated. It always makes me feel so warm inside. And when you leave a comment, when you leave a review on the podcast, it helps other people to find this content as well. And we love that. And if you have been loving everything that I am sharing in this space, I would love to be able to hold space for you on a more personal level, help guide you through your healing journey. I am booking one-on-one Reiki sessions. I do them virtually unless you are in the LA area. So if you're interested in that, you have questions, comments, concerns, I will leave all the information down below. Okay, lighting changed a little bit if you're watching on YouTube, because I decided to film like right before it gets dark. So it might get a little weird. I apologize in advance. Okay, so some of y'all might not like what I have to say today, and that's okay. I don't care, only because I speak from a place of love, okay? And some of you need to hear this, or some of you may know someone who needs to hear this, okay? But it's probably you. So let's just get right into it. If someone asks you, okay, what qualities do you look for in a person, whether it be a romantic partner or a friend, what qualities do you look for in a person? You might say something like loyalty, you want them to be honest, you want them to be kind, you want them to be thoughtful and considerate, you want them to be emotionally available, you want them to just love you and take care of you the way that you want to be loved and taken care of, right? All of us want someone who is loyal and honest and communicative, but some of us are not practicing these qualities, right? And it's not because we're not a loyal person or a communicative person, an honest, open, loving, caring, considerate person. It's that you are, but you're withholding these qualities until the other person gives you a reason to be X, Y, and Z. But can we just do math for a second and think about that? Because if everybody is playing this same game of, I'm not going to be loyal to you until I know you're loyal to me, I'm not going to be as loving and caring to you until I know that you're going to be loving and caring to me, I'm not going to speak openly and honestly, you don't need to know X, Y, and Z until... If we're all playing the same game, and don't get me wrong, it's important to protect yourself, and we're going to talk about how do you protect yourself, shield yourself, have boundaries while still moving in integrity. But how do you expect from others what we are refusing to embody ourselves? And we're refusing to embody these things out of fear, and yet we're expecting other people to embody these qualities. It doesn't make sense, and it's a little bit manipulative, okay? It's kind of the opposite of people pleasing, right? And something that I realize is, as a recovering people pleaser myself, okay, I think that what happens with a lot of people pleasers, when they realize, oh, I've been giving way too much and I've been doing way too much and not putting my needs first, not putting my heart first, not protecting my heart, they realize that they've been doing this and they've been hurt over and over and over again. And so then they go to this other extreme where they start to withhold. They become really avoidant. They become really cold. They become very detached and kind of nonchalant. Listen, I have been pretending that I'm nonchalant for the last couple of years, and I am not nonchalant, okay? It's like that meme on TikTok. I am very fucking chalant. I care a lot about things. And for those of us who feel everything so deeply, and we were people pleasers, or we're empaths, or we're healers, or we're just sensitive, loving little beings, when we get hurt time and time again, and then we learn, oh, we have to have boundaries. We have to have boundaries and put our needs first. It can be easy to kind of fall to the other side where you're not giving any of the things that you should be giving and that you want others to give to you. You're not embodying the qualities that you're expecting from other people. So there's a couple things to understand. First is that, again, if this is something that you're doing, it's probably for a reason, okay? This is you trying to protect yourself. You're trying to avoid getting hurt again. You don't want to give too much. You don't want to care too much. You don't want to be loyal and honest and kind and open-hearted and thoughtful if this person is just going to take that and crush it, right? And you're learning how to have boundaries. So there's a reason why we do this, but that doesn't mean that it's healthy for us. And it also doesn't mean that it's going to achieve the result that we want, because I think what we want, or what we're thinking, is that if I withhold my heart, then I can't get hurt. If I don't wear my heart on my sleeve, if I don't show up authentically, lovingly, then I have nothing to lose. I haven't put my cards on the table. I haven't invested as much into this person. And so I don't have as much to lose. But all that does is keeps you from cultivating a genuine, fulfilling connection with someone, and it fosters and attracts a lot of connections that are built off of ego and fear and scarcity, and that's not what we want, right? At the end of the day, what we want is relationships that feel healthy and reciprocal, right? And it's kind of like a catch-22, because in the past, when you've been too giving and too loving and too X, Y, and Z, people have hurt you. But now that you're not doing any of those things, you're hurting yourself. And you're not allowing people to love you. You're not giving people the chance to even love you, because you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And this is a way that I have tried to operate time and time again, and I'm still finding my middle ground. I'm not gonna lie. I have a lot of inner, protectors that cause me to become very avoidant and very detached when I don't feel safe, or when I feel like I might get hurt, or I feel myself caring deeply for someone, and then that part of me that has been hurt comes to the surface and is like, whoa, we don't need to do this. We don't need to do that. What are you doing? Reel it in, right? And so I understand, but in order to foster the kind of relationships that you want, in order to attract and maintain connections with the type of people that align with you, you do have to be authentic. You do have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Real connections are built on vulnerability. Real connections are built on being able to admit, hey, sometimes I get a little avoidant, and sometimes I get a little bit weird, and sometimes I get a little bit mean. But it's not because I don't care about you. It's because I'm working through this thing, and I'm trying to show up the way that I want to show up, and I'm trying to love you the way that I want to love you, and the way that I want you to love me. I'm doing my fucking best, okay? I think so many of us underestimate the power of just being fucking honest about, hey, I am not perfect. None of us are. And I'm trying to show up in this way, but it's hard. And it's because of this. And if someone is your person, whether that's platonically or romantically, they will see that and receive that and say, okay, I understand, and I don't need you to be giving 100% all the fucking time. It's okay if you can't. I understand if you can't, but just let me know. Be there, be honest, because we really are all just here to support each other. Something else that's good to understand is that it's really important to become mindful of those past experiences. What are you unconsciously carrying into your present situation? What past shit, past baggage are you unknowingly bringing into these current relationships, these current connections? Being able to understand that is how you can be real with yourself and recognize when you are shutting down, when you're becoming avoidant, when you're being manipulative, when you're being a dick, when you're not being vulnerable, when your heart is closing, right? You can notice what is happening, and you know that it's just because of something that you've experienced in the past. This is a pattern that you are repeating, or a new pattern that has emerged as a way to protect you. And that's how you can then communicate that with the other person and allow your connection either to deepen or give them the opportunity to show you that they are not someone who knows how to be vulnerable and handle your vulnerability and your journey and your truth, okay? And that is a blessing. Side note, that is a blessing. When someone shows you that they can't actually handle who you are right now, wounds and imperfections and all, that is a blessing. And that space they leave behind is space that is being created for someone to come in who does align with you exactly as you are. You also want to get really, really real with your values, okay? Some of us don't even really know what we want in a person. We think we know. We all have a kind of general idea. I want them to be a good person. But what values do you want them to have? And how will you know what those values are if you don't know what your own values are? So many of us have these expectations of other people, and we're expecting them to show us who they are, to show us what they value, to show us how to move in integrity. And we're not moving in integrity. We are not moving in integrity. As I said, we're acting out of fear. We're acting out of past pain. We're acting unconsciously. We're not moving with integrity from a place of love, from a place of self-awareness, and getting real and clear about what you value. What kind of person do I really want to be? What does my energy feel like? My embodiment feel like and look like when I am aligned with those values? Maybe this isn't even something that you've questioned, right? Maybe this is just something that you've been operating off of old conditioning programming that other people have told you your values should be, and things that you should care about, or things that you should look for in relationships and connections, but maybe none of those things actually align with you. So if you've never even questioned that, you should probably sit with that. You should probably sit with that and ask yourself what your values are, so that you can look for those values in other people, and you can honor those values within yourself in all of your connections. When you get clear on what your values are and how you want to move in the world, something that people are not able to do is determine how you show up. Okay? Because when you are choosing to withhold your love, your communication, your loyalty, your thoughtfulness, your consideration, when you are withholding all of these things because, oh, they haven't shown me that they're worthy of me giving them that, all you're doing really is allowing other people to determine how you show up in the world. You're allowing other people to dictate your energy, to dictate how you embody yourself. When I think of true confidence and security in oneself, I think of, I'm going to be loving, I'm going to be considerate, I'm going to be thoughtful, and if you can't reciprocate that, it might hurt a little bit, but I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for showing me who you are and showing me that I don't need to continue to put energy into this relationship, right? When you are withholding these things and playing this kind of like mind game with someone, you're not giving people the opportunity to show them who you are or who they are. And you are basically saying, I'm going to wait for this person to move this way so that I can then show up the way that I really want to show up instead of just showing up the way that you want to show up. And that to me is not confidence. It's not security in oneself. It's not love for oneself. And again, I understand it's coming from a place of fear. You're coming from a place of not wanting to be hurt again. But the real flex is being a fucking sweetheart, a little loving sweetie pie, no matter who the fuck you're talking to. Kill them with kindness, right? Like, there are so many people in this world who are moving this way, who are cold, who are mean, who are cruel, who take and take and take, who use and abuse other people. There are so many people like that in this world. Why the fuck would you allow the fact that those people exist in the world and some of them might come into your circle? Why would you allow those people to determine how you show up in the world? Why would you do that? If you have a lot of light and love and say it how the fuck it is to bring to the table, if you are someone who wants to be open and honest and just speak truthfully and give and love open-heartedly, be that fucking person and allow people to then show you what direction you need to move in, as in where you need to put your energy into and where you need to set boundaries. But don't allow other people to determine how you show up in the world, because that's a them problem. That's not a you problem. Don't make it a you problem. So, how do you find this balance? I have very much been practicing the art of detachment as a way to better understand where my boundaries need to lie in my relationships. Recognizing that people move the way that they do because of their shit, not because of you. They might move as a response to how you move. They might act as a response to how you show up in the world, what you bring to them and what you bring out of them. But that's like 10%. The other 90%, why people act the way that they do is because of their own shit. It has nothing to do with you. And so understanding and accepting that people are going to do what people are going to do and being able to detach yourself from an outcome. Know what it is that you're looking for, know what it is that you are seeking within yourself and within your connections, and detaching yourself from the outcome so that when this person doesn't show up the way that you want them to, when this person doesn't reciprocate the love that you give, the authenticity that you're coming to the table with, you can let them go instead of trying to force them to be what you want them to be. Okay? And that's when we start to play this fucking anxious avoidant cat and mouse game where nobody is being able to meet in the middle and we're both trying to get something out of the other person. It just becomes messy. So practice detaching yourself from the outcome while still knowing what your values are. Don't detach yourself from that. Don't brush that off, but detach yourself from the outcome because you accept that you can't control the way that other people receive you, the way that other people respond, reciprocate, or don't reciprocate your energy. And in this practice of detaching, you can accept that you're not losing anything by being good to someone. You're not losing anything by bringing loving, caring energy to a connection. If that person doesn't end up reciprocating, if that person doesn't know how to receive your energy, doesn't know what the fuck to do with it, tries to take it from you, tries to use it against you, you're not losing anything because you are whole regardless of whether or not people can love you the way that you want to be loved. And the more that you accept that, the more that you let go of people who can't reciprocate, the more you will create space for people who can love you the way that you want to be loved, who are living in a way that is aligned with your values, who are living from a place of integrity and mindfulness and love, right? But in order to attract these kinds of relationships, these connections, we have to embody that energy, because how the fuck is anyone going to find you if you are moving from a place of fear? And truth be told, 9 times out of 10, we hear people talking about, oh, they were a narcissist, they were an abuser, they were a cheater, they did this, they did that. No one is ever talking about what they did wrong. And it's because, we all have we all hold on to our stories, and we hold on to our pain, and we want to feel validated. We want to feel held. We want to feel loved in sharing those experiences and speaking truthfully about those experiences. And I'm not here to say that those experiences aren't valid, but think of it this way. If you are choosing not to be the loyal, communicative, open, vulnerable, loving person that you are, you're probably the villain in somebody else's story. You're probably the bad guy in somebody else's story, even if you understand that, well, it's just because I was scared. I'm scared of getting hurt, and they didn't give me a reason to be authentic with them, to be loving with them. They didn't give me a reason to. So, boohoo. Like, but do you understand? It's like we all have the same story. And maybe the person that ghosted you, the person that was withholding love, that wasn't ready to love you, didn't know how to love you, was carrying a lot of pain and holding on to that pain, holding on to that story. And I'm not saying that you need to have compassion for that person and reach out to them and say, oh, I understand why you cheated on me. I understand why you hurt me. I understand why you lied to me. You don't have to do all that. But by having this bigger perspective of why people do the things that they do, why you do the things that you do, you can recognize how important it is to let go of these things, to begin to let go of these things, these stories, this pain that we hold on to, so that we can be a source of love and safety for other people. Because someone has got to do it, okay? Someone has got to do it. And I think that person should be you, right? It's like, be the change you want to be in the world. But no, seriously though, like, if you want other people to be X, Y, and Z, then you need to embody that. You need to stand on that and in that whole fucking heartedly, so that you can be a light and a guide to show others that it's safe, it's okay to love, and you can still be strong. You can love and be strong all at the same time. You can have boundaries and still make connections. You can do both. You can hold space for both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So whatever it is you are expecting from other people, ask yourself, am I embodying those qualities? Am I embodying those values? Am I that person? Am I really that person? And if you're not, if there are things that you are not willing to do, things that you don't do, qualities that you will not bring into a connection until you quote unquote know that it's completely safe, and they prove to you that they're not a shitty person and that they can do all of these things that you want them to do, then sit with that. Sit with that. Get real about why that may be, why you're operating from a place of fear, and give yourself the space to shift. Give yourself the space to start to open up a little bit more. Still practicing your boundaries, but slowly opening the door. This is the journey that I have been on, and it has been very challenging, but also so gratifying, because I really do feel like the more that I let my guard down, I have my boundaries, but I let the guard around my heart down and I allow myself to open up to people, the stronger those connections feel. And that is just such a gratifying feeling. And it's so much more gratifying than withholding all of this love that I have to give, okay? Because I have so much love to give. And I know that if you're watching this, you do too. With all of that being said, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. And I will talk to you next week.